This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
Oh, I guess we're going. We're going and gone. Yes, we are back. If you're joining us on YouTube, today's show is not sponsored by Starbucks or sponsored by Pellegrino. Just happens to be our beverage today. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
We need to change that. You know,
gotta fix
maybe what's the sweet spot? Maybe we get to 50 episodes, 100 episodes. There's some sweet spot where, you know, people start paying proper attention to what you're doing. So
Right.
I am thrilled though. Our listener count continues to go. I mean, everything goes in the right direction, particularly just starting out. So we've the Apple people, Apple Podcasts is what the Apple Podcast. That's been our number one platform so far.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of where people are checking out the Grow Business Podcast, which is where you are right now. If you didn't know that, I'm Cory
Welcome.
Mosley, and I'm joined by
Lon Graham.
Lon Graham, LG 007. What did we call him the last time? The voice of we called him the voice of reason. Also, yeah.
Exactly. The
He's
voice
getting a
of
lot of
reason.
AKAs over here.
I think I may have used that earlier today.
Did
too.
you? You did. Yes, you did in the meeting.
I did.
And I'm like, I remember that statement from somewhere because I gave him that name. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I reserve creative license to make up names, as we have done with our studio producer, Willie H.
Right. That is correct.
Yeah. Willie H is in the house also.
Yes, indeed. We couldn't do without it.
Yeah, 100%, because I don't know how to push any of these buttons.
Mm.
So, and shout out to everybody who is out there doing the self-done, podcast where you're,
good
working
form.
the boards and you're doing the whole thing. Particularly people who are doing it, anybody, good podcasting is hot, right?
Right.
Having a good message and being entertaining and all those things. But like anybody technically could just like start talking into there's a lot of great resources to get started.
Right.
But, shout out to the people that really are really working those buttons and working it and doing it themselves. But we certainly appreciate Willie H. being here with
100%.
us and
Couldn't do it without him.
making us look good for sure.
Couldn't do it without it.
For sure. And I'm sure he's going to send us some fun things to talk about. I missed one the last time when he was sending quotes because we had that TJ quote.
Oh, right.
We had a quote by TJ. I missed
Right.
the
You got distracted.
the one by the Nobel laureate David Goggins, who wrote, "I don't stop when I'm tired.
Right.
I stop when I'm done."
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And
That guy is crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Stay hard.
Stay hard. That's right.
He's crazy.
we didn't stop. We took a break, which is why we're coming back for part two.
That's it. Yes, almost like, yes, we did. We took a break.
Right.
It's not even a different day. We just stepped away.
We took a break. We had to, we knew that we were, in order to provide the right balance of quality content and manage our time appropriately and effectively.
Yes.
We decided it was good to
We chose
stop
not to
in the
rush
middle.
through the information. Yeah.
Correct. We
Yeah.
decided to take a break. We're not done.
Yes, that's
We'll
right.
be done with the content after this one.
Yes.
We'll be done with this one.
Assumably.
Assumably.
We don't have those time constraints that we had last time. So if you're just joining us, what we're talking about, if you've popped in, maybe you're a new listener, you have popped into part two.
Part two?
Part two. Part one. We're talking about mental toughness. We're talking about developing unshakable mental toughness,
Yes.
particularly in business, in entrepreneurship, because it can be dark, it can be lonely, it could be a lot of things that are not on Instagram.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that don't reinforce
Correct.
the energy
Or
required
tell the
to
truth.
be successful. Or
Yeah.
tell the truth.
Yeah, that don't really tell the truth
Or
about
that
how all
hides
this
the
stuff.
truth.
Yeah, about how this stuff goes for
Right.
sure.
Yep. 100%.
So we're talking about mental toughness. This is part two. So if you didn't, you're gonna get. What are we doing? 4 through 7.
Correct.
Yeah, you're gonna get 4 through 7. We did 1 through 3. So I encourage you to listen or watch part 1 if you haven't, and then come back to part 2. But we're glad that you are here. So we talked about staying focused last time. We talked about making better decisions and the impact of mental toughness, on making better decisions.
Correct.
We talk about bouncing back from setbacks. And then I feel like, wait, did we do 4?
We got to 3.
We just got to 3.
We
okay.
got to 3. We didn't. We were. Yeah, it was well intended.
Okay.
It was well intended.
Well, we have arrived at 4, and we have plenty of time now, so that is exciting here.
100%.
All right, so I'm gonna dive back in.
Right.
To
and
it.
For the record,
we did the recap.
I don't know what 4 through 7 are.
Yeah, good. I like it.
You've kept that behind the curtain.
That is, when you think about the elements that make up a show, that make up a podcast, right? Where people have segments. That is one of the funnest things for me. And what I love about it is it allows me to appear mysterious to overshadow the fact that sometimes these topics literally come to me at the last minute.
Right, exactly.
But see, I go, oh no, I can't reveal, Lon, what it is we're covering. Right. That's probably because I haven't made a decision yet many times.
We'll
but now it's part of the fabric.
Right, we'll roll with it.
It's part of the fabric of things.
We're having fun with it.
So, number 4, mental toughness. And why you need to develop it and the impact of it really is kind of what we're talking about.
Right.
So one of the elements and one of the key things here is the ability to use it as a tool to manage risk.
Okay.
Right. So we think about entrepreneurship. We think about all the risks that go involved in that. Now, for many of us, we try to take calculated risks.
Right.
Right. Instead of being all gas.
Right.
Right. Because that could jam you up. Right. Being all brake could jam you up too, make you miss a lot of opportunities out of fear to move forward. Yes. So the key is taking calculated risks. So mental toughness and why you want to develop those skills is it allows you to evaluate risks objectively to make more confident decisions. Because if you're emotionally swayed by everything, or too analytical, right? Paralysis through analysis. Right. Both sides of those spectrums can hurt you.
Yeah, and that's where consistency becomes a big part of mental toughness, right? So you talk about how do you make decisions, and like there's an emotional component to all of it, and some of it's the passion that you have to be able to drive it. But being mentally tough and mentally strong means preparing yourself to make those decisions before you need to make them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go about doing that and making those decisions? Because, like you said, you can't be all gas,
right?
And you can't be all brake. You got to find a balance in between. And so, mentally strong people do a couple of things when they're going through that decision-making process. And one of those things is have a system in place. Another thing that they do is have people that they can talk to that they trust.
Right. And sometimes that's a professional.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I'm becoming more open now. I've never done therapy.
Okay.
Have you done therapy? Or are you willing to say? Or maybe
so
don't want to say.
My mother had 2 master's degrees in psychology.
Oh,
was
wow.
A dissertation away from her doctorate degree. And so I was a therapy patient consistently.
Right.
I was a test case.
Right.
So I have been evaluated.
This reminds me of Frasier. Because that's not like now the new Frasier. I'm watching the new Frasier.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't watch the old Frasier before.
Right.
Like at any scale. And I was probably age related and that too, but I'm watching the new, this is how quickly we get thrown off.
That's
but I was watching the new Frasier, and now obviously part of that now is his son is grown. I don't know if you've seen any of it, but
not the new one.
Yeah,
no.
So he's back in Boston.
Okay.
And his son is grown. He's a fireman. He left Harvard. Okay. So and now Frasier is back, is teaching at Harvard.
Oh wow. Okay.
So now you see the psych dynamic between, the relationship with his son and the other elements of the show that they've created. So it makes me think of that when you were saying that. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, my point is,
I'm not sorry, but go ahead.
My point in saying that is that I believe in the power of it.
Yeah.
I haven't aggressively sought that for myself, but I know people that do, and it's tremendous.
I'm honestly thinking, inside the, Black community,
right?
That's a big taboo.
Yeah.
Right. That was something where, just be tough. Mm-hmm. Your ancestors were tough. They figured it out. They got through, and all you need is Jesus.
Right. When it church say amen.
Right. You don't need therapy. You need Jesus. Right. That's the, now many people need both.
Correct.
You definitely need Jesus. I'm all for that. And whatever you guys believe out there, but I'm definitely on board with that. But that's also a big taboo and a stigma. This idea that you would be talking to someone in therapy, and it's something I've warmed up to. I mean, I don't think in particular. I mean, maybe you ask my staff. I don't know. I'm not dealing with any particular thing that I need to go get worked on, but I'm warming up to the general idea of having, because even when you talk about friends or mentors, many times there's still barriers. Because it's that old adage, right? Sometimes that's why like barbers and people like get all the tea, as they say, from it, because it's like, we're not that close. You're more of a stranger. Right. So I want to just tell you everything. Right. Because the judgment won't last, if there is any, because I won't see you. Right. Or I'll see you once a month, or never. Right. Right. You talking some rando somewhere on vacation, and you're just telling them all your business, because you're never, you tell the friend about what had happened or something along those lines, and you don't know, you're afraid. Will they see you differently? Will things be different? No matter how much people say they won't judge or they won't make opinion, of course we do that. We're human. Right. Yeah, there's no question about that. Right. If a friend of mine told me something outrageous, I'm going to have an opinion about it. Right. Exactly. Now, I mean, as long as we're not talking murder or something like that, something that gives me, I have a legal obligation to report. I'm not like, I don't need to dissolve the friendship unless it's just something you can't come back from. But I'm going to have an opinion about it. And I'm going to have a judgment of the moment, whether, maybe they made the right decision or the wrong decision. So, well, and I'll add one thing to that, Corey. If you reshape how you think about it, we hire professionals to do a lot of things that we're not good at. Whether it be, you hire, like we've talked in previous episodes about hiring a professional to do your website, about hiring a professional to do your marketing, about hiring a professional to represent you in court, or you go to see a doctor when you have a need. Same thing. Somebody who's trained to, professionally trained to help you navigate through some things that you can't navigate through on your own. 100%. So, and that all circles back really how we got here, right? That all circles back to mental toughness. So sometimes the development of that mental toughness is professional help, is mentors, is friends. We will do a whole nother show on the perils of advice and who you get advice from and following advice. We'll save that for another day. But what are your thoughts? So I think you're in agreement in terms of the ability to manage risk and to have greater clarity and objectivity. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because mental toughness, I associate it with not being desperate. Yeah. Or managing desperation. Yeah. Or preparing to manage desperation. And so you're right. When you do that, when you prepare to manage desperation or you manage desperation, you're making more conscious, you're making better decisions, which is the whole concept of the mental toughness piece, right? How are you consistently doing things to keep going and to make better decisions and not to go drive off a cliff? Right. Yeah. Because there are days where you want to drive off a cliff. Right. Yeah. There are days that you will say, and many of you will, wherever you are as a listener or viewer, why am I doing this? Yeah. Why do I want to? Why don't I just, make this simple? Right. Right. Why don't I just, what? I think they take me back at the corporate job, or I think they take me back or wherever. You're going to have those moments. Right. And sometimes you go to bed with it and you wake up the next morning with it and you still got to figure it out. And you're going to have those stories. And I could 20 plus years now, I can think of those stories for certain. Yes. That were those moments to just say, you know what? And I always tell this to people, you achieving and accomplishing what you're trying to achieve doesn't always involve you having to take all the liability to do that. Correct. Right? Oh, great. So-and-so loves to speak. Fantastic. There are a lot of great organizations like Skill Path, seminars, and a lot of companies that need speakers. Right. That hire them, that need them to go on the road, or need spokespeople, or corporations where you're the spokesperson for that corporation. Right. Or you do corporate, Corey, I love to train people. All right. That doesn't mean you need to be Train Company LLC. Right. You may go work for a great organization that's got 100 locations that can take you all over the world
Right.
to deliver training and to help people.
Right.
And I tell, when I talk to early on when I was doing coaching for startups or more solopreneurs, my first question, what is it that you want to do or you're doing?
Right.
And do you need to do it as your own company? Not because the internet told you.
Right.
Not because you were told the only way to financial freedom is to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Which is completely not true.
Yeah.
There are a lot of millionaire employees.
Yeah. We talked about
and they're not all corporate.
In the previous episode.
Yeah.
Part 1. We talked about Charlie Munger.
We're talking about, and that's right. You're talking billions.
Right.
I'm talking about the guy who retired from UPS.
Right.
With $3 million.
Right.
Because of how he invested and where he put him. Right. It wasn't, because sometimes the business doesn't even, sometimes the business itself never produces what you want it to produce.
Right.
And you may be better. You may have more consistency of opportunity to build whatever your version of wealth is.
Right.
Through these other areas.
Right.
Whether that's real estate, whether that's passive, whether that's simply investing.
Right. Well,
because you have all that automation now. You have all the AI. You have all the robo investing and all these things where really your job is to just be consistent with transferring dollars and cents. And now you've got these sophisticated systems that can beat the S&P 500, can do these different things, tax loss harvesting, and all these other things. Some are a little more complex than others, and we'll see how they play out. But there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. So I don't want to gloss over that. I mean, I know our primary listeners, our business owners are already in this entrepreneurship space, but it's just worth noting.
Right. Well, and going back to the mental toughness piece, I mean, mental toughness applies to everybody. We tend to have more business owners and more small business owners.
Right. Sure.
And thought leaders that listen to this.
Right.
At least that's the feedback we're getting.
Sure.
Is, that's who we're hearing from.
Right.
But mental toughness is required to be successful in anything that you do. And part of it is where's that drive coming from? What's motivating that drive to do whatever it is you want to do?
Right.
So, yeah. And so you gotta have that toughness.
100%. All right. That's 4. Okay.
And we wonder why we didn't get through all of them yesterday.
No. Yeah. Right. So the interesting thing here is, like, we call this, it's actually more than 7. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So we've talked about these 4,
right,
which really speak to why mental toughness is important.
Okay.
So now I want to make the pivot.
Okay.
And now the pivot is going to be, now that we've talked about the importance.
Okay.
Now in hindsight, we probably should have gotten through 4 in part 1, and then we could have pivoted, but here we are.
Here we are, right. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it. So we've talked about that. Now, maybe we look at some modern tips for developing it.
Ooh.
So we'll go development. So we got the whys, right? Being able to stay focused, make better decisions, manage your risk, come back.
Right.
As Willie Jolly says, if you can look up, you can get up.
Right.
Right?
100%.
So the development, right? We talked about mindfulness, practicing mindfulness.
Right.
We talked about setting clear goals. We talked about the SMART analogy, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then we talked about the need to embrace failure as part of it.
Right.
So now when we keep moving on, the next one here to talk about is building a support system.
Yes.
Right? Key in terms of developing mental toughness. So a strong support system, of course, is essential in this practice.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and your vision and who can provide you with encouragement and feedback when you need it.
Right. Yeah. I call it encouragement and guidance.
Yeah.
Because they say, okay, well, this is where you're going. Is that really where you want to go? Is that the direction you
Everything
want to be in?
can't sound good.
No.
Oh, good.
No.
Keep at it, Lon.
Well, yeah, that's driving off the cliff, right?
Right.
I mean, that's, it's all good. Keep going.
Right.
Oh, wait, there's a cliff. The reality of it is detours are designed to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need people you need people and people need you too, but you need people that are in it because they want good things for you.
Right.
and we'll help you with that.
Well, it makes me think about the parable, and I'm gonna chop it all up, but my church people will know why. Willie H, why are you shaking your head? You don't even know what I'm getting ready to say. He's already shaking his head. But you have to know. I've talked about the Kenny Rogers principle, right? I don't want to. But you've got to see the signs, right? People get so deep in their conviction,
right,
that because they're told you got to keep at it, you got to keep going,
right.
That doesn't mean you don't adjust. And that parable is, the guy there's a flood and the guy goes to his roof, to the roof,
right.
and the guy on the boat comes by and he's like, no, God's gonna take care of me, God's gonna save me, and the guy leaves, and then the helicopter comes by and he says, no, I don't need that, God's gonna save me, and then the guy drowns, gets to heaven, and I might have skipped a vehicle coming by yet, a sea-doo comes by and he says no, right, and then he gets to heaven and he's like, God, I thought you were going to save me. Well, I tried.
Right.
I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter, I sent you a sea-doo, and you didn't do it.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's how a lot of people take actions.
Right.
Sometimes things just aren't working. We've done things that just didn't work.
Right.
And we just didn't go, oh, well, you know what? Let's do some more of that.
Right.
And it will just happen.
Right.
That's not how. Yes, you have to stay at it. Yes, you have to be prepared to persevere. Yes, you're going to be tested. Go ahead. No, I want to hear it. Go ahead. That's just dumb. We've got some new stuff. I love the new. We've got some new sizzle here that we're dropping. That is just dumb.
Right.
To not be willing to be flexible in that way. No, this is the way it has to. This is the way it has to be. Everybody has to make adjustments in terms of how they approach things, right? 1.0 isn't 3.0. I just watched the Tyler Perry documentary.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And again, there's a guy that had to find ways to do things his way, but he made adjustments.
Right.
When he learned lessons, he stayed his core principles and values about ownership, about knowing his audience. Like, he didn't abandon his audience.
Right.
He stayed true to all of those things, but he made adjustments. And the 300-acre studio he has today was not his first studio.
Right.
1.0 was not 333 acres.
Right.
There was a 1.0, a 2.0, and I think this was his third, and now the most significant, of course. But that's through making adjustments.
Right.
And you got to be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, he tells the story about going to do plays where there were 2 people in the audience.
Yeah. I get it.
So, you've got, we did road events for years, and there were some tough cities.
Right.
Where we didn't know, where we were scrambling, trying to give a ticket away.
Right. Trying to get people in seats.
Yeah, trying to get people in the seats, and then trying to, shout out to people who are experts at making it look full. You shoot that angle, you want to take that picture on that side shot real quick.
Right.
But there were, and we were, and why this hits me so much when we talk about this topic is, like, it was good stuff we were doing.
Right.
It wasn't crap. People just didn't get it at that point.
Right.
We obviously didn't do a good enough job marketing, but we were in an era, and this is really going back to the days when we were doing internet sales training in the auto industry.
Right.
When it was still, what is this? Do we really need to do this? And people aren't going to want to do it this way.
Right.
And so you're trying to explain this, but we had great speakers from across the country coming in. We had great venues that we were doing this stuff at.
Right.
So it really was tough.
Right.
To go through all that work and go through all that effort. You've got your team. And Lon, I'm not even talking about the money.
Right.
Because the hotel still wants their money. You told them 50 people. 50 people was the guarantee.
Right.
They don't care if 10 show up.
Right. They give you 40 meals to take with you.
Yeah. You own it.
Right.
Congratulations, you're an owner.
Right.
Would you like them in the box?
Right. Exactly.
Less dishes for us to do.
Right.
So that's just a painful deal. And to know that you have to put on the face.
Right.
Do you cancel it for the 10 people that did pay and make the investment? Now you're in a room with 5 crescent rounds in it for 50 people and projectors and stuff. And you've got 10 people there, and you're trying to, you got to give them 100%.
Right. Well, you whether it's one person, 10,
Yeah.
or 100 or 1,000 or whatever the number is, the people that paid to be there paid to be there.
Correct.
And they deserve
That's right.
the best content, the best effort, and the
Right.
best impact, because they solve. And what here's where a mental toughness approach comes in. Bring it back to mental toughness
Mm-hmm.
and having your people is, you've got to have somebody remind you that there were 10 people that thought enough of you and wanted what you had to offer.
Right.
That showed up.
Right.
Now, there's an economic component to it, and there's all the other things for sure. But when you're standing in front of those 10 people, you've got to focus on the 10 people that are there and not the 90 that aren't.
Right.
And that's where the toughness comes in. And that's
where
the
the support system.
100%.
My ability to huddle with my team.
Right.
And have the support that, listen, we know, I mean, listen, we're gonna learn from this. We're gonna do a better job. And you know what? This is just a bad city.
Right.
Right. And you know what's interesting? One of the things I think you have to do as an entrepreneur is you have to adjust the reality. Just because you can help everybody doesn't mean you should,
Right.
and that's going to work.
Right.
Like there were, like, you know, when we plotted cities, we didn't just go population. We were like, you know, I want to help people in this, you know, I want to help people in this city.
Right.
But is that a good market for us? Well, there were things we didn't know. Like, you know, in the automotive world, you have a lot now, even more so, you have a lot of consolidation, right? Where one group owns every store in your city.
Right.
Or can own every store in your town.
They can order 10 different brands.
Right. So imagine
outlet.
this happened in Atlanta.
Okay.
Because you go Atlanta, that great market.
Right.
A lot of car dealers, a lot of, in our case, a lot of training opportunities, a lot very populous. That was a disaster for us because like 5 people own the bulk of everything.
Okay.
So if you don't get that training manager or that owner to buy in on what you're doing, there's 58 stores that aren't coming to your training event.
Right.
Just like that. So great venue, depending on what you're delivering with. So you learn lessons like that. And you know, I mean, what a shocker. Our Atlantic City events were full. Those were sold out. Those are, we have no more. Can we get it's too late to get a bigger room.
Right.
Like, you know, cause obviously there's other things to do, but
there's a reason they keep building hotels in Vegas.
Right. But you learn, you learn from that too.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a support system, if that was just me just taking it, not guys looking around, hey, you know, listen, we know we have the right mission. We know we're on the right path. We know we're doing good work. We're gonna make some tweaks. We're gonna take that city off the list. We're gonna market longer. Maybe we're gonna adjust our price point. We're gonna learn all of those things. So, all right, build a support system. Next, this is an important one. I have this conversation with many of our coaching clients.
Okay.
Building prioritizing self-care. This also goes in that woo-woo. Can be construed as woo-woo, particularly where you are generationally.
Right.
You start talking self-care. I mean, you think about your military family. You start thinking about talking self-care to your 65-year-old dad or 80-year-old dad or grandfather, or whoever, from a different era.
Right.
You know, what do you mean you're going to get a massage? You're going to essential oils. What are you talking about here? Right. You're a pedicure. What? Just go out there and get a puma stone. Go out there and get a stone and grind those feet down. Walk on the pavement. That'll solve all your problems, right?
Right.
So, like, this falls into that woo-woo thing. But self-care is really essential to maintaining mental toughness. You know, so some of the obvious things: sleep, right? Diet, that's another show, because we're all working on that. And Lon, you certainly don't do anything to help that by having all these Hershey bars around the office. But he puts a note next to him that, you know, if this isn't for you, don't worry about it, right? So, but there it lurks, and he drops them on your desk. Send Lon an email, tell him stop messing with us, stop tempting me with Hershey's treats, right? Yeah. But so we've got, diet, we've got sleep, exercise, taking breaks to recharge. One of the things I picked up from you, actually, now not as great because it's winter,
because it's 20 degrees.
Yeah, but one of the things we picked up from you is this walking, just taking a minute to walk, and you refer to it as getting fresh air, but really taking a walk around, we're in a big office building, so and it makes for a great because you're not walking on the street and those kind of things. But I took that, as something that I picked up from you. Is just I don't know if that's the secret to your thinness or not, but hasn't happened for me yet, even though I've been doing the walk. So maybe there's some other tools. But I picked that up from you.
Okay.
That is self-care.
Right.
Self-care is not necessarily going away for 5 days at Golden Door Spa, although, that's one way to get some self-care in.
Right.
But there are little things that you can do there to help refresh and kind of reset yourself, right?
Well, things you have to do daily. And you're right. You go back to talking about, mental toughness, and self-care.
Yeah.
We call, and I'll go back to your military reference, we call the people that were in World War II the greatest generation, right? Because they were the toughest.
Right.
Like they went to war, came home, and built America.
Yes.
They built roads, they built railroads, they built dams, they recovered this country. And they just, if you got blood on it, spit on it, wipe it off, and keep going, right? So the reality
Chris
of it,
Rock says, Robitussin.
There you go.
More tussin.
Right,
You
exactly.
broke your leg, more tussin.
Right, that's exactly right. The reality of it, though, is that you, and you refer to the car business, you were in the car business for a long time. You can't drive a car on empty gas, with an empty gas tank.
Right, sure.
Or if it's electric, you can't do it with no juice, right?
That's right.
So you've got to stop and put gas in your car. You got to stop and charge it. Well, you got to do that with your body too.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I learned as I continue to evolve in my professional journey in my business is when I get stuck, I stop. Because sometimes I've got to walk away from trying to create an idea or develop an idea to clear my mind. And so the walk is getting fresh air is a couple of things, right?
Right.
One, it's legitimately getting fresh air. And two, it's moving my body so that I get blood flowing, which causes other things in my body to happen, which causes me to think.
Right.
Clears my mind. It frees me up. A snack. Like I read an article the other day about the benefits of eating a banana every day. I eat a banana because it's easy to eat.
Right.
But it helps. Like doing those things.
Right.
What are you doing to
getting sunshine first thing? They say wake up the quickest you can get the sunlight. Right. Even they talk about, I've heard people talk, again, could fall in the woo-woo category. Right. The benefits of going barefoot to the closest piece of grass or land of earth that you can in the day. Just your energy, whatever. I mean, they explain it better than me. But just those different things. It's not always a big, it's the little things, taking that walk during the day, clearing your head, and it could be more intensive things, massages, or I've recommended the clients to get floats.
Oh, yeah.
They do this. A lot of people do this in the military to treat PTSD and some of these things. The Dead Sea Salt floats. Right. Just as a calming way to clear. Because from an entrepreneurship level and a business owner level, that mind is always moving. Well, ideas. I got to do this. What's next? What's the next move? What clients do I need to get to? What events? Who do I need to try to get more clients from? Right. And trying to balance all that can be daunting.
Well, and so that is all true, and that's not exclusive to entrepreneurs and business owners.
Sure, of course.
Because in the world that we live in now, this post-COVID world, where the great debate is work from home, work remote. Right. They're all different things. Right. But if you're at home, you spend more time working than not. Right. And so you've got to create patterns for yourself whether it's a timer or whether it's whatever it is, you've got to do things where you get up and move, you walk away, you eat some, like the reason your mom told you to eat greens when you were growing up was because they're healthy. Right. Well, I mean, as much as I like fried potatoes, you got to eat greens too. Right. So what you put in your mouth, what you put in your mind.
Some people tell you vegetables will kill you. Well, there's a whole movement on that. So, different episode.
Different episode for sure. But you're right. Take care of yourself. Self-care is taking care of yourself.
That's right.
And it doesn't, and there are different levels of doing it. It's critical though that you do it, whatever you choose to do.
100%. All right. Next.
Boom.
Learn from others. Right? Learning from others' experiences, of course, powerful way to develop mental toughness. Seeking out mentors, other successful entrepreneurs, asking about their experiences and how they overcame challenges.
Right.
Really creating reference points
Right.
for when something happens. You know,
Right.
I'm always quick to tell people, particularly in our coaching groups, you're not alone.
Nope.
The situation is not unique to you.
Right.
You know, obviously it sucks that whatever it is happening to you, lost a deal, whatever, things you're counting on, you know, particularly from that perspective, right? You're counting on deals.
Right.
I thought a deal was happening. I got an email and that deal's not happening.
Right.
Right. So we've got to learn to deal with that. But I'm always quick to go, particularly with our coaching community.
Right.
Hey, let me tell you exactly what happened to me.
Right.
In that same scenario.
Yeah.
Right. And here's how I dealt with it or came out on the other side.
Right.
So having that reference point for people to know, you know, I tell people on the airline, my rule on an airplane when it comes to turbulence and things is I watch the flight attendant.
100%.
Something starts happening on the plane. I look at the flight attendant. Flight attendant's not worried.
Right.
I'm not worried.
Right.
Flight attendant's worried.
Right.
Time to get right.
That's right.
Right. Time to get right with it.
Right.
Go ahead. That was perfect.
Right.
When the church say amen.
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's
it's time
right.
to get right with Jesus at that
That's
point.
right.
Because now I know that's my indicator, right, of things. And I only saw that one time where she was like,
Right.
And we were in a Dashville 800, 700, one of the ones with that still had the propellers on.
Right.
I'll never forget. Richmond, RIC, when you travel, you speak in the airport code.
Right.
RIC to EWR.
Right.
Richmond to Newark International.
Right.
So short flight, so they were still had those prop planes in
Right.
service. That was my last. That was the game.
Right.
Set point, set match. Because she was like,
Right.
everyone stay calm in their seat. So you know what I mean. So,
Right.
but that's that piece that we're talking about. There is really
Right.
learning from others and then having experiences, so you know how to react
Right.
in a situation because
Right.
you've heard from someone else before.
Or respond.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I think you're 100% right. And you talked about coaching. Well, that's another perspective, right? Getting perspectives, learning from others. I got in another role that I was in another company a long time ago, I got an opportunity to see Zig Ziglar speak at an event.
Better than good.
Better than good.
Yeah.
The one he
the
says
redhead.
he says a lot of things that I still think about today.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing he said that resonated with me, because I was in an outside sales role and I spent a lot of time in my car.
Right.
And he called it Automobile University. Now,
having those tapes, having those
tapes,
yeah.
having
8-tracks back in your day.
Audio books. I have experienced the 8-track in a
You're a good sport.
I've experienced an 8-track in a transcontinental Rockwood, driving from Montgomery, Alabama to Eastern Wyoming to go see my grandparents. But listening to Johnny Cash and Charlie Pride on the 8-track. So the point being, though, is there are lots of ways to get perspective from other people who have done what you want to do or done what you're trying to do. And I use the Zig Ziglar example as Automobile University, in that I would listen to books. There's things I still listen to, podcasts now. You can listen to podcasts.
Podcasts like Grow.
Grow
Business Podcast.
Grow Business Podcast. Yep. You can listen to it in the car. That's your Automobile University.
Right.
And so 100% believe that.
Yeah.
Because you've got to expand your knowledge base. And you can expand your knowledge base in two ways. One, by doing and learning from doing, which is critically important, because the only way you're going to go somewhere is if you try it.
Right.
And then by listening to others who have done what you want to do. And so, yes, I 100% agree. Getting perspective of others.
With perspective, like using the appropriate layers.
Correct.
Right. Great study Warren Buffett, great knock yourself out studying Sir Richard Branson. But there's a big gap there.
Yes.
Right? Different time, different strategy, different things. So who is the next level for you?
Right. Who's one layer up?
Right. So Bezos is great, but studying him, if you're not even in that game yet.
Right.
Right. Maybe you want to study who's next up?
Well, or study.
I'm not doing
started.
6 figures. Who can I study doing 6 figures? I'm at 6 figures. Who can I study that's created a 7-figure business? I'm at 7. Don't go from 5 figures to studying 9-figure people
Right.
in terms of immediate action.
Like where they are.
Yeah, I'm not
now.
talking about biographies, but I'm talking about tactical stuff.
Right.
Because the tactics that got them there many times have shifted.
Correct.
Right. The whole game's different.
Yes.
So it's just perspective. Back to your point.
Yeah.
right.
And I'll use this example.
Yeah.
When I've got a degree in exercise science. I used to train and work out, and I had a workout buddy when I was in college, and he was just this much better than me. He was this much stronger than me. Weighed about 15 pounds more.
For
than
people
I
who are
did.
listening, they don't. Lon just got that. Not everybody's watching YouTube,
Like
so
an
yeah,
inch.
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
An inch.
Give them the
between my
visual of
finger-
what you're showing them.
an inch
Okay,
between my index finger and
Gotcha.
my thumb, for sure. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Cory. But what it did for us was it pushed me to keep chasing him, and it pushed him to stay ahead of me. Like I was coming. I'm
Right.
always coming.
Right.
And so we're pushing each other in different ways. Same
Coach
thing.
Prime.
Coach Prime, that's exactly right. Same
We're
thing.
coming.
Reach the next level.
Right.
Learn from the person who's one step ahead of you and how they got from where you are to where they are.
Makes complete
Awesome.
sense as usual. The voice of reason. Lon Graham has spoken. Willie H, I want you to make that a button. The voice of reason. Lon Graham has spoken.
Yeah.
All right, here. We got the final one.
All right.
Have we still not got drum roll? We got to do it ourselves. Willie H, no drum roll yet. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Building up. Little drummer boy.
How long does it last? Oh, wow. It goes long. Oh, you have to end it? Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
Practice gratitude. Gratitude, powerful tool for developing mental toughness.
Yes.
By focusing on the things that you are grateful for, you can develop a more positive outlook and build resilience in the face of challenges.
Yes.
And I think I heard just recently, I need to stay off the internet myself. But the statement was, right, someone made the statement, you're complaining about something that somebody prayed for today,
Right. Right.
that they want. And I think that the term that I heard from Grant Cardone was, and I'm not sure, he's my reference point, not that
Right.
he made it up, right? But again, just giving attribution. So I'm not here to try to sound super smart, just
Right.
like I make up everything. But and that's a lesson to people. Source it, folks.
Right.
Okay, if it ain't yours,
Right.
do the right thing.
Yeah.
But I heard this from Grant Cardone, and it was, he'd say he's thankful, never satisfied.
Right.
He's thankful, never satisfied.
That's right.
Right. So you don't have to go, you have enough.
Right.
Right. Oh, you have enough. Cory, we didn't bring our business to you because you have enough.
Right.
You didn't give your home to sell to your friend who you know is a realtor because they were already successful enough.
Right.
You want to help out somebody else.
Right.
As if they're, but I think a lot of people look at striving for more to be an indication of being ungrateful or not being thankful.
Right.
And you could do both. You could want to double your business next year, but be thankful for the business that you had this year.
You can be thankful and hungry.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
And I was,
And I guess gratitude, we need to put it in that context.
right. You can be thankful that you're where you are. That doesn't mean that you have to stay there. And it doesn't mean you have to want to stay there.
Right.
Because business owners, alphas, athletes, whatever you
Right.
want to call them, business owners, alphas, athletes, everybody that has accomplished anything wants to accomplish more. And that's how they got to accomplish what they've accomplished now. And you referenced Grant Cardone. I listened to an Ed Milet podcast last week or 2 weeks ago talking about similar thing.
Yep.
Is be grateful, be thankful, and understand that it's okay to want more.
Right.
And Ed Milet talks a lot about intention, right? What is your intention? Well, you can be thankful and grateful, and you can intend to want more and do more because it's good.
Right.
And so be glad that you have the house that you live in, and it's okay to want a bigger house.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to want to extend the dock.
But you have to, but now in this model of what we're discussing, we got to keep the context correct too. Meaning, yes, what you just said, all of those things, yes, but don't skip being gracious and thankful and having gratitude. So you can want the bigger house. You could want the pool.
Right.
I've been trying to figure out a way for 9 years to get a hot tub in my backyard.
Right.
But between the HOA and the electrician, they have thwarted my efforts to do so, right?
Okay.
So I can be amazingly thankful for where we live and thankful for our home. Right. But you can't skip. You can't just go, oh, well, I'm thankful, but I want more. You do have to legitimately have gratitude.
Yes.
Right. And to tie that together.
Yes. And, people talk about journaling and I talked yesterday about writing. I write to remember so I don't have to. But I also use writing as a way to do what you're talking about. I use writing as a way to say, okay, these are some things that I appreciate that are in my life. And sometimes it's that I talk to my dad, or sometimes it's that I talk to my sister or a member of my family, or it's that I got a chance to see a friend that I haven't seen in a while, or I got a chance to go out to dinner with the guys. That I'm thankful for that. And I can still want more. And there's things that they don't have to be tied to each other. You can be thankful for things that you have and grateful for things that you have. And you can want things that aren't related to them at all. Right. Remember, though, that there's good in your life. And I struggle, and I'm going to go off on a tangent and come back a little bit. You talk about what you have is what somebody else wants. Yeah. And you know what? It's your life. It's not theirs. So live your life.
You didn't hear if you don't, you got to finish your food because there's kids in Africa starving?
Well,
you never heard that. Did you ever hear that?
I have.
Willie, did you hear that in your house? You better finish that food. This kid's starving in Africa.
I've heard.
Or wherever.
I've heard it said, not by my father, but I've heard it said because he grew up in a small town in a barren state where they grew their own food and they canned food so that they ate in the winter. So we didn't hear that because there's days they went hungry when he was growing up. Right. So, but point being is it's your life.
Right. I don't care if those shoes hurt.
Right.
You gotta, that's
you're not walking barefoot. Right.
You didn't get Nikes, you got Sykes, and you better be happy about it. Right. That doesn't mean I don't still want the Jordans. I mean, I'm grateful I'm walking, I suppose.
Right. I mean, it's again, you can be thankful and hungry at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And gratitude, I mean, again, could fall in the woo-woo category.
Yeah, it could.
Because, and that's why so many people skip, when I talk about 5 pillars, pillar number 1 is mindset.
Yes, 100%.
Because all the other tactics, right, by the time we get to sales, we get to marketing, we get to operations, we get to people, we get to those other 4.
Right.
If we start wrong, we're gonna end wrong.
Right. And I'll say one more thing in terms of this mindset and gratitude. Mm-hmm. If you aren't grateful or thankful, whatever word you want to use, for where you work to be right now, you're never going to be. Yep. All you're going to want is more. And anybody who's been successful doesn't wait till they get what they want before they start setting the next goal.
Sure.
You're setting the goal before you ever get to the goal you're trying to accomplish right now.
There's seeds, right? There's seeds. Right. There's things there's seeds that we planted,
right?
7 months ago, a year ago that are going to take fruition. And your goal is, right? Momentum is created not just not just based on what's happening in real time,
right?
But what you put in motion,
right?
Right. So I'll take those 5 deals that I worked on this month, but I'll take the other 5 that have been snowballing.
Yes.
And you got to stay tough. You got to have the right mental attitude, to do that. So, there it is.
And we'll use this podcast as an example.
Yeah.
I don't know what number we're on.
Yep.
But, we talk about getting to 50 or getting to 100 to start bringing in some of our marketing our marketing associates, right?
Yeah,
Some of the
marketing
people
associates,
that
yeah.
want to support us financially.
We got to pay those bills. That's when
That's
I
right.
stop and I say, water. My water is crisp and refreshing and some of the best water that I've ever seen in this country.
That's right.
I want to recommend insert name of water company.
Right.
Head over to waterwebsite.com
Water.com,
for more
exactly.
information.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. But the this is the perfect example.
Yep.
In order to get to 100, you have to do 10. In
That's
order
right.
to get to 10, you have to do 5. In order to get to 5, you have to do the first one.
That's right.
And so celebrate each episode and each layer, each
Yes.
step. And that's part of being grateful.
And I'm glad you brought that up because this is a good moment to practice gratitude. One of the things I'm super excited about is we've got a 5.0 rating right now on, so I hope that I don't want to jinx anything, but people are responding. They're rating the podcast. We're getting great ratings from people who are responding. So I want to take a moment from a gratitude perspective and thank all of our listeners, our early listeners, the people who have been around. Oh yeah, go ahead. All right, there you go.
All right.
I want to thank those early listeners. I want to thank the people who come back every week. Our numbers go up every single week. That means that can't all be new people.
Right.
That means people are coming back and they're seeing value. So this is a great opportunity to thank the people that are supporting what we are doing, supporting this effort to educate and entertain, share some, personal stories. I'm learning things about you. You're learning stories you've never heard from my end. And, we're getting valuable feedback in this kind of effort here to maybe we're providing a break for some people, right? Somebody's been grinding all day right now. Now they've taken an hour. They're taking an hour to laugh a little bit, to hear some crazy story, to hear something that's happened to them, or maybe something that could happen and maybe to learn how to deal with it.
Right.
And get this in a couple different perspectives. So, so tremendous gratitude to the Grow Business Podcast audience that is sticking with us. If you're just finding us, we are happy to have you. We're thrilled to be able to use our resources and use this platform to pour into you, as they say, and continue to hope that it's going to be of value. And we're going to keep this train going. We're getting out of here for today, but I hope you found value from what we're talking about and the role mental toughness plays and will play in your ability to grow your business or pivot, go forward, recover, side to side. I mean, all the different aspects and your mental outlook is going to be important with that. Lon? Yeah,
same, as you, Cory. Thank you for those who are listening. Thank you to the people who have provided feedback and we've gotten some really positive comments. We've got, that five-star rating. So thank you for that. Thank you to those of you who, one, are listening and giving and sharing your time with us. And then two, taking additional time to provide insight and feedback. And then three, like I know people that have shared this with others and have invited others to join as well.
I love that.
So thank you to all y'all. And we ask that you'll come back and join us again for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Continue using your favorite streaming sources. We're on Google Play. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Apple Podcasts. Of course, you can also view us on YouTube and head over to growwithcory.com for more information. Join our newsletter. And I've got a free training program, the 5 pillars of business growth, that is available 100% free at that site as well. So we're thankful for you, and we will see you next time on the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley, and he is
Lon Graham.
Lon Graham. We're happy to have you, and we will be seeing you again soon. Dance. The voice of reason. I love it.
Yeah, you look. I said that.